So when your pictures are not good enough, it's because you're not close enough. Not like Robert Capa said, like physically, but what I mean is mentally. My name is Mads Nissen. I'm a documentary photographer working on social and contemporary issues. You can call it many names. Some call it documentary photography, some call it photojournalism, other people just call it photography. To me, the core of it is that you're documenting, you're photographing the world around you. The documentary photography that I like the best is non-fiction. It's things that actually happened. It's real people. They're not actors. You're not asking them to do all kind of things. You're not rearranging things. You're not manipulating the images afterwards. It is journalism in that sense. You're documenting what is happening, but you're doing with a personal voice. So it's your eyes on the world that is happening. And to me, that is the photography I like the best. That bridge between documentary, but with a personal vision. Documentary photography is about having something to say, a message, a voice that you want to share with other people. The most important thing to me in documentary photography, the beauty of it, or the charm or the power of it, is empathy. This idea that with an image you can express the emotions of another person. To capture the emotion is the most difficult thing in photography. I mean, the camera is so intelligent nowadays, they will do the job. To capture the emotion, that's the most fascinating and interesting and challenging part. My way of doing it is to, first of all, sense that emotions. I have this idea that if I do not feel the emotion when I'm taking the picture, then the viewers will not feel it either. So I need to be angry, I need to be sad, I need to be vulnerable, I need to be, whatever that emotion is in order to pass it on through the photograph. So it's almost like you're soaking in all those emotions yourself, and then only then you can pass it on in the photograph. Being vulnerable, allowing yourself to be emotional, that is the key to me. Obviously, if you are just a robot or a soldier, or you just, you don't allow yourself to be connected with the people in front of you, you are also protecting your own emotions. So if you're doing what I love to do the most, involving myself, allowing myself to be emotional, it will also be more hard on your own emotions. And that is the balance to me, because I looked at many great photographers who done amazing work, and I also noticed that many of them, it really took a hard turn on their life. It really ripped their souls apart. So I think that is the balance, to involve yourself in the project, but not only doing that. Sometimes you also need to sit in a beautiful garden like I am right now in order to heal your own soul. Because my idea is that if you cannot feel your own emotions, then you will never be able to feel the emotions of others. So involving yourself, engaging yourself, having empathy, but also taking good care of yourself. Some photographers are having troubles finding the right stories. I don't. The more work I do, the more ideas I get. So that's, to me, the best advice, just to move. When I do teaching, I can help the photographer with anything, except one. There's just one thing where I can never help the photographer, is that, what do you want to say? So what do you want to express? What is important for you? That is the only question where you need to find it within yourself. The rest of it, how to use the camera, how to organize the story, how to put it together, how to visualize that emotion, that I can help you with. But what you have in your heart, what you want to express, your voice, your message, that needs to come from within yourself. I think the best way is to ask yourself what really matters to you. That's how you will, what makes you angry, what makes you happy, what makes you excited, what are you curious about. To me, I use a lot of my indignation. If I'm really concerned about something, if it's really troubling me, if I cannot get my head around something, if it makes me really angry and I want to make a change. This cannot be true. This is happening and it shouldn't be happening. Then I'm motivated to go and photograph. In many ways, my work has not developed. When I look at my previous work, it's made from the same values. It's made by the same person. Obviously, in some ways, I become, I learned stuff. I learned how to, I'm better at using my cameras nowadays. I'm better at, post-production, whatever. I have a lot of the techniques are better now. But I believe in many ways that when I'm most confused about where to go in my work right now, I look back at my previous work and to find that voice within myself, find that initial interest I had in photography, what brought me to photography, and that helped me to guide me to take decisions right here today. Finding that connection with why I started with photography, that curiosity I had, that will, that need to change the world, that creativity. So finding those elements back then, feeling those emotions, and then that guides me to where I should go in the future. One mistake I keep doing is that I want to tell too much. I want to, instead of just focusing on one person who really embodies this story, and you can be able to tell the whole story through that one person, then sometimes I just keep but I also need this and this and this and this and that. Having a focus, having a clear angle, cutting away everything that is not absolutely essential. To me, I think that is a great challenge still. Because the more you can cut into the bone, cut away all the unnecessary parts, the more stronger your story will be. I love natural light. I think it's amazing just watching the sun, the light, how it moves on my hand and all these shades and things. It's amazing. I love light that keeps its color. A lot of the time I do not use the auto white balance. I just keep it on daylight. So when the light is green, it becomes green. When it's red, it's red. To me, color brings atmosphere. I love that. Most of my color images just has 1 or 2 colors in it. Well, I think photography should be fun, and you should find a technique, a visual style that fits your story. The story comes first, then you find the visual language that fits it. And some story needs to be photographed in black and white, some in color, some in more conceptual ways. Some on a tripod, some completely shoot and point and shoot. So it all depending on the story. But most of my work is done, handheld, small lens, small equipment, try to be a bit more discreet and in order to be closer emotionally. I often feel that the more equipment I bring, then it also puts a distance between me and the people I'm shooting. So keep it simple, use natural light, use the beautiful colors of the reality that is out there. Don't always destroy them with your ultra white balance. I have an iPhone, I have a Canon R5, I have a digital Hasselblad, I have a Hasselblad shooting film, and I have a bunch of other cameras. I love cameras, I love shooting with different cameras. It all depending on the story you want to tell. Some is with flash, some is just with a large equipment, some with a much smaller, some with a fast equipment, some with a slow equipment. But in the end, it's all depending on how you work. So find the best camera for you that suits you. If you're shooting documentary and you don't have a lot of money and you want to start out well, I would just recommend a small camera, an FX 35 or FX 28, something like that. Keep it simple and then start using it, because the best camera is always the one you have in your hand. Using the right lens is super important, because you might get a close distance with a long lens, like a 100mm, 200mm, but that's kind of the beauty of photography. It reveals you. So if you're shooting on a distance, it will feel distant. If you're shooting close up, it will feel like you're close. I often use just a 28mm, 35, 50. That's the lenses I use to motion documentary photography. I have a bag full of lenses, full of cameras, different brands, a lot of things. I love to play with it as well. But in the end, 28, 35, 50, and for portraits, 85, 100. You know, that's the most natural looking. That's the lenses I just keep going back to. And then a lot of them, because I drop them on the floor, they get smashed, they get rain, they get sand, they get beaten up. So not only one. Before I start shooting, I spend a lot of time in the research, finding out exactly what to do, where's the best place, what time of the day, all of those things. The preparation is super important. When I'm photographing, I just try to forget it a bit and just use my gut feeling, work on my intuition. Afterwards, in the editing process, I really spend a lot of time, and the people who know me very well, they can absolutely agree on this. I spend a lot of time looking, how is this picture compared to this one? What about, you know, in this picture his hand is like that, but the light is like that, looking at all those small differences. Why? Because it matters. It matters if his lips are dry or if they're wet. It matters if their eyes are like this or they're like this. Everything matters in photography. So I spend a lot of time in the editing process. And once you put it together a story, it gets even more complicated. It gets even more, the doors opens even more. Because one picture affects the next one, And in that editing process, for the whole of the story, you might go with an image that is not the best one, but it will be the best for the story. So I love editing. It's fun. It's where you prove that you're not just lucky, but you know what you're doing. One can look at awards, one can look at whatever, but in the end, it's the difference I made to people. When I'm speaking to people and I see someone in the crowd with tears in their eyes because of a story I did, because they care about those people in the images. Maybe they see my work on homophobia and it gave them courage to accept their own sexual identity. That is to me real change. When my work make decision makers change the course, that to me is an achievement. I'm here as a documentary photographer to try to push things in a better direction, in a better way, for a better world. And whenever I can take just the tiniest step, that to me is a huge achievement. Then forget about the awards. That's just amazing, but it's also just a bit noise. The secret behind my photography is empathy. So if your pictures are not good enough, it's because you're not involved enough. It's because you're not emotional enough. All the intellectual parts, you can get a lot of help from other people, the technical parts as well. But the emotions need to come from yourself. So when I look at my work and I'm my own hardest critic, and when I feel, why is this work not strong enough? Most of the time it's because I was not engaged enough. I was not emotional enough. And I ask myself, how much does this story really matter to you? Because if it matters, you will find the time, the resources, whatever, and you will come back and you will stay longer and you will engage yourself even more. So thank you for watching. I hope it was useful for you, and I look forward to seeing your work one day. In the meantime, you can find me on social media, find my website, you'll find my books, your exhibitions, go to one of my workshops. Thank you.